Now, although not commonly advertised or a common feature even of Word, you can use word tables to carry out some formulas. Ordinarily, you would leave this to the likes of Microsoft Excel and its spreadsheet power. However, if you've got a Word table and it's got some information and you'd like that information adding up or averaging or counting, then using a formula in a Word table is not such a bad thing. It's a nice little tool. If we take our data tables file, we have two little tables in here, both of which could benefit from some formula work. So firstly, I'm going to decide to add up the total number of children in our first table. And in order to do that, I do need a cell below where the result can go. So let's insert another row by just tabbing out of the bottom right-hand side, and a new row appears. I then click into the cell where I'd like the formula to appear. Now I could just add these up manually and type the number in, but if I use a formula, then I can get the formula to keep checking the cells. So if they change, the formula result is then correct. So with my cursor in here, I go to the Table Tools Layout ribbon and Formula. Now the formulas do differ slightly from Excel. So if you're used to working in Excel, you will firstly recognize the formula, which is sum. That's the one it defaults to. But what you won't recognize is then this reference to the cells above it, which is simply above. Now you can use above, left, right, and below. And Word will then reference all the cells in that particular direction. So maybe to the left, above, to the right, and below. Okay, and our formula then appears, and the answer is 8. Now you'll know it's a formula field because when you highlight it, it gets that grey background so that you know it's a field rather than just the answer. It hasn't just put 8 in, it's put the result in as a formula that we can then refresh and review. With our second table, population table, again we need an empty row, and I'd like it to add up the population. So we click into the cell below the population, up to the formula function, equals sum above, fantastic, okay. And it tells me that there are 3.4 billion people in the top 6 countries. If I want to know that as a percentage, I come here and I could add these up. So that's formula, insert sum above. Now you'll notice that it spots that these are percentages and wants to do exactly the same for your result, multiplying what it gets by 100 and then formatting it as a percentage. That is absolutely fantastic. Okay. And the result is 49.41%. So nearly half the world is located in just 6 countries. So that's the formula field in Word. Select the cell, choose the formula function. It will decide really what's the best function to be using, and it usually defaults to sum, and then above, so that it picks up the text above. Now it can sum left, right, and below, but usually when you're looking at a table of information, you want the result at the bottom. Sometimes you'll want the result at the right, in which case summing left is quite useful. So if we inserted a third simple table with some items in, so item, Guy, Bob, total, and then we enter fish, 16, 17, coffee, 23, 65. What the numbers mean, I'm not sure. Bread, 56, 32. Now if I wanted to add these across here, I simply click in, choose the formula, and you see how it's defaulted to equal sum left. Okay, and the answer is 33. If I change these two values here to be dollars, so $23 and $65, and go to here and go to the formula, now first thing you see is it assumes above. That's its default direction. And because there's a value above, it wants the sum above. So we need to delete the above and change that for left. And we can also assign the number format of dollars. Okay. And it adds up to $88. 65 and 23, 88. If we then go to the bread and choose formula, you can see again it's defaulted to above, but we can change that to left. Apply no formatting and OK, and it simply adds up the two numbers. Above is easy. This cell here, formula equals the sum above, OK. This cell here, formula equals sum above, OK. This cell here, formula equals sum above, OK. So when it's equaling the column height, it's fine. It spots that and does it straightforward. If it's the first item on that left option, then there's nothing above it except a bit of text. Then it will sum correctly. But when you then have a choice of above or left, it will always go for above, but you can wipe out the word above and type left instead. So that's the formula in action. You simply select the cell, select the formula option, choose the function that you want from the list. By default, it always goes to sum when you're looking at numeric values. When you're looking at text values, it doesn't default to anything, but you could use a count option, for example. Any number format you wish to apply to the result from the choices in the list, and then OK, and the formula will appear in your cell.